Welcome back to the Interesting Theory podcast. I'm Aaron.
I'm Tanner.
And before we get started, let's go through our book updates, our weekly book update, or reading updates.
Yeah.
What do you got?
It's been busier than the last time we recorded. We recorded 2 episodes last time, so I didn't have anything to report on. Since last week, I started and finished the book we're going to talk about today.
Same.
And started and finished. Well, I didn't start Bookshops and Bone Dust. I was like 3 chapters in, and I just set it down for a couple of weeks. And I picked it back up on chapter 3 on Wednesday, and I finished it yesterday.
Nice.
And then also started last night Empire of the Vampire.
Let's go. I've been trying to get him to read this for a while. I'm so excited for you'll have a lot of interesting theory updates coming up soon, because this one is definitely one that you will theorize a ton on.
Yeah, I'm about 2% in. I got about 20-ish pages in last night before I fell asleep. So
nice. So I also read and finished the book we're talking about today. Continued on my Shadowhunter reread. Almost done with the 3rd book of the Infernal Devices. And then I picked back up the Ryan Cahill series.
Nice.
Before I went and saw him in Dallas back in March, I read the first 2 books in the first novella, and I hadn't read anything since then. But I started to kind of use him as my workout audiobook time, and so anytime I do a run or lifting session, I'll listen to him now. So
is this how you were listening to today?
Yeah.
Oh.
So I've got half an hour left on the 2nd novella, and then I'll roll into book 3.
Nice. So. And then you also finished the Songs
Oh yes, I also finally finished Songs of the Dead by Peter O'Rourke and Brandon Sanderson. That took me way too long, but like I've said before, physical reading's hard sometimes.
You get that.
Yeah. But no, that one was really good. I plan on doing a review for that here pretty soon. Nice. So look out for that.
Yeah. That's it for my reading. I'm hoping to get done Empire of the Vampire soon. I got a busy weekend, Father's Day, all that fun stuff. Yeah. I'm not a father. I have a father. But got a bunch of stuff. We're, dealing with some health stuff, and so reading might be in short supply this week. We'll see how it goes. So because I'm not physically reading, I'm e-reading Empire of the Vampire.
Yeah.
Done quite a few audiobooks lately, so just trying to get out of that and get back into some e-reads. So
yeah,
we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Well, as you guys can tell by the title, we read the first book in the Cradle series, Unsouled.
We did.
By Will White.
And
I want to give a quick shout out to Amber on Instagram. I met her at the Cahill signing, and she was the one that actually suggested we read this.
Yeah.
And I messaged her after we finished, and she's like, "Oh my god, I'm so excited for you guys to explore the rest of the world." And these are small books, and I think we could probably get through quite a bit of these if we wanted to. I enjoyed it enough that I'm definitely going to continue at some point.
Yeah, and they were all free yesterday.
Yes,
and so we bought them
at
all.
the time of recording it, today's the last day to get them, so we went ahead and just got them all.
Yeah,
thanks again to Amber for the shout out on that. That's the only way I knew that they were free.
Well, and I had been recommended this series back in December. So back in December, I had a Christmas party with some family, and we were talking about reading because the year before, one of the people in my family, they came and they showed up in a Stormlight sweater with all the honor blades on it. You know which one I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I asked him, I was like, is that Brandon Sanderson related? He's like, yeah, Stormlight, blah, 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 Wind and Truth, blah, blah. I was like, oh, cool. I'm going to get to those eventually. Yeah. I'll read them. And then last year, of course, I read all of Cosmere. And so as someone I only see once a year at this Christmas party, and I saw him again, I was like, I read the entirety of Cosmere. And he was like, really? I was like, yeah, I started it in May and I finished in October. And he was like, holy crap, dude.
Yeah.
I was like,
didn't you say it was 183 days or something like that?
Yeah, it was almost exactly 6 months it took me to read. So I finished in right at the beginning of November.
That's
I finished
wild.
it. Yeah. And
you still had other reads in between them too.
The whole Throne of Glass series.
Oh yeah, no, this man alternated between Throne of Glass and Cosmere.
Yeah. And it was a trip. It was a lot to do. But then he was like, you should read the Cradle series by Will White, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like 12 books, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll get to it, and I wrote it on my TBR, and I kind of forgot about it, and I mentioned it
It
to you like
yeah.
several months ago, like at the beginning of the year, and you're like, oh yeah, I've kind of heard of it, and then like kind of dropped it, and
Yeah.
then
It
she
it was
mentioned
one that
it.
I had. It's like I'll give credit where credit's due. Like Tanner did suggest it. It was kind of like on my not TBR, but like secondary
On the
TBR.
radar.
It was on the radar, and
Yeah.
I do kind of wish I would have read these sooner
Mm-hmm.
because Will White was actually at Nexus
Mm-hmm.
2025, and it's the same thing of like reading Dinneman after seeing him at Nexus 24. It's
Yeah.
like, dang, he was right there.
Yeah.
Um, but on to the actual like review part.
Yep.
We'll try to keep, as usual, try to keep non-spoilery for a little few minutes, and then we'll
Mm-hmm.
just go into it.
Yeah.
So initial thoughts.
Initial thoughts. I've got to sit with it for a couple of days.
Yep.
Um, Initial thoughts are I gave it like a I gave it on my rating thing. I gave it 4 stars. Really, it's probably about 3 and 3/4, like 3.75, 4. I didn't want to go. My thing only allows me to do like 3.5 or 4.
Oh yeah, yeah,
I couldn't give that point, but in my notes it's like 3.75.
yeah. I'd probably agree with that
Mm-hmm.
just because it's I don't know, it is really good,
Mm-hmm.
but it's very fast. Like
Mm-hmm.
a lot happens, but not a lot happens.
Mm-hmm.
I'm used to much bigger books.
Yeah.
And that is one thing that with these buddy reads we've been doing, I've been trying to like get used to is like stories that happen so quick because they are smaller books. Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
used to things like dragging out,
Yeah.
and it's really hard for me to be like, well, did anything really happen? I read this in like 2 days,
Mm-hmm.
but a lot did really happen.
Yeah, a lot did happen. Um, it was what, less than 300 pages, right?
Yeah, I
Like
think
280
two,
something.
yeah, somewhere in there.
And a lot happened, but like you said, not a lot happened. There's a, it's fast paced the whole time. You meet your main character, and he is what is called an unsouled in this
Hmm.
universe. Um,
Yeah, so the base premise that you find out like chapter one, so
mhm,
we're not giving any spoilers yet. Um, there's this village or this clan within this valley, and kind of the magic is like at a certain age you go and get tested to see what group you're put in,
mhm.
and this kid gets tested and nothing happens,
Yep.
and they're like, well, you're unsold, you don't get put into any of the four paths or
Yeah.
whatever, and he's basically treated like an outsider.
Yeah.
People kind of, it's like a you bring shame to your family because you don't
Mhm.
have any abilities or whatever, or like he still has abilities, but since he's not been put on a path, he's not allowed to study and grow his power. He's just got very minimal.
Yeah.
He's able to channel his energy. That's
Yeah.
about it.
That is about it. That's kind of like his premise. Lyndon,
Yeah,
right?
Lyndon.
And you follow him through all of this, and some crazy stuff happens, and then stuff happens, and it like you're very confused.
Yes.
I'd started before Aaron, and got to chapter 7, so up through chapter 6,
Yeah.
and I let it sit for just a couple of days just because I got busy at work this week, and then some other stuff. Um, and I was like, just wait till you get to. Let me know when you get through chapter
Yeah, he
6.
said, "Let me know when you get through chapter 6." Like I was at work, I had just hit chapter 4, and I was trying to get there, but people kept bugging me. And so finally, when I get through chapter 6, I just texted him, "Bro, what?" And he goes, "I'm assuming you made it past chapter 6."
Yeah, and try not to be super spoiler right here, but just like you, it pulls back a layer of the story of
It
like,
takes a completely like left turn that
mm-hmm,
it's totally unexpected.
yeah, that you it hints a little bit at like in some of the chapters where it's like report on this, and you're just like, okay, well, this is weird, what are we talking about? It I don't know if I should say this right now. I'll probably save it for the spoiler section.
Hmm.
um but it changed the pacing of the story, it changed how you thought about what was happening. um
It changed the whole scope of what was going on.
yeah.
It's. completely change your expectations of what the story was going to be,
Oh yeah.
because you very much think it's going to be your kind of trope. uh, Farm boy finds out he's a little bit more special than he actually is, goes on
Mm-hmm.
a journey,
Yeah.
discovers his power,
Mm-hmm.
and there are elements of that, but there's another added layer to what's going on here.
Yeah. God, it's so hard to talk about that
Yeah.
non-spoiler.
So, to talk without spoilers, you said you'd rate it like
Three and three quarters,
three and three quarters. Okay.
3.75. I'd give it a honestly.
What were its strengths and what were its weaknesses, kind of in your eyes?
Its weaknesses is that it could have been slightly longer. And I know we talked about this during like the kaiju
Yeah.
review. Like I don't feel it encompassed everything in the very beginning to like set up for the rest. I think that
Yes.
beginning should have been a little bit longer. So maybe
That.
like 20 to 30 more pages to give
Yeah.
to the exposition of the story
Yeah, I
would have
agree.
been a little bit better. Um, Chapter 6 being so early, like it's fine with like the pacing of the story, but it's like I wanted a little bit more exposition before just you get this huge twist so early in the
Mm,
story. Um, what it did well was I think it made you really care for the main character quickly.
mm-hmm.
Like you really like the main character. Um, you are rooting for him the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, the book is just a little silly. Like
Yeah.
you can tell it doesn't take itself too serious at all. It is a serious, like toned book, but it's like not belaboring the point of just like this whole book is serious. It's great, but those are kind of its strengths and weaknesses for me.
I would agree. I didn't. And my likeness for the main character Lyndon kind
Mm-hmm.
of roller coaster in these less than 300 pages, because there's the beginning where you feel for him.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, he's just trying his best.
Mm-hmm.
But there are times where I'm like, is this dude just a little too greedy?
Mm-hmm.
Like, is this gonna be one where, he's got good intentions, but like he's still a kid, so he's just looking at it like, I need to gain power, like I need to,
Mm-hmm.
it's. And I think part of that is just because he is a kid making these decisions, but it does feel like he is just a little too focused on gaining power.
I think part of that was due to the pacing. Like
Yeah,
I
and
think
that very well could have been.
I
Yeah.
think if you can give it a little bit more exposition, he wouldn't have felt that way. Because, like, at the beginning, he was a little bit more like he wanted to be better, but he
Mm,
was in his inner monologue. He talked about, like, I'm resigned to this life for the most part. Like, he would kind of go back and forth. He's like, I'm resigned to this unsouled life. I won't get better,
mm-hmm,
but I am still going to try to be better.
mm-hmm,
But the exposition just happens so fast that it's kind of like, oh shit, let's move on quickly. Let's do this. Um, our main character had a little bit of plot armor,
mm-hmm.
like a little bit too much plot armor for what was happening. And that's, I would say that's my biggest critique of the book. He had a lot of plot armor.
Yeah.
Um, it was very, I'm the main character of this book, and we'll get to this in the spoiler section, but it's like I'm the main character of this book and you can obviously tell I'm the main character of this book.
Yeah.
There wasn't a point in time where I felt he was, after a certain point, in any kind of real danger.
Mm-hmm.
That I was like, oh, he's not going to get out of
Yeah.
kind of situation. But that'll be talked a little bit more in the spoiler part. But.
Yeah. I have been now in this book. There wasn't really very many like side characters that we sat with long enough
Yeah.
to really get to know or enjoy. I have been told that there are other characters coming up in the next few books that are like much more enjoyable than the main character.
Mm-hmm.
And he also grows on you really fast.
Yeah.
Moving forward. So but pretty much like any issue I would have had with him now, I'm not going to have that moving forward in like books 3 and 4 or whatever.
Yeah. But other than that, solid book. I recommend if you're looking to get
Mm-hmm.
into like, I would say this is an intro to high fantasy. Of just like
Mm-hmm.
in this like epic world building books that we have, like Game of Thrones
Yeah,
and
if you're
stuff like
yeah,
that.
if
But
you want to possibly dive into things like Game of Thrones, Cosmere, Wheel
mhm.
of Time, I would say start here.
Yeah, this book
This
felt like a good ease into this
yeah.
these epic world building, but on a small scale.
Yeah.
The longest book I think we looked at, it was like maybe just right under 500 or just over
I think it
500
was like
pages.
518.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't, yeah, it was just over 500.
And if you're an audiobook person, book one, I don't know about the rest of them, was narrated by
Travis Baldree,
Travis Baldree,
author and narrator of The
The
Legends and
Legends of
Lattes,
Lattes.
and he's narrator of many, many more things, but
Yes.
he's a very good narrator, so I highly recommend the
Yeah.
audiobooks.
It was weird because like I'd started it on just ebook and like it was kind of losing me at the beginning just because I had a lot going on.
Yeah.
And so I was like, let me immersive read this. Let me try to get more into it because I found myself skipping across some stuff that's like, no, this is important. There's a lot going on. And it was around chapter 10 or so,
Yeah.
9 or 10. And I was like, I'll get the audiobook. It's fine. And then I was like, oh, it's Travis Baldree. I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
And it felt very weird going from that in the same day to picking back up with bookshops and
Oh
book dust.
yeah.
And so he does extremely well. But he has like a style and it doesn't change much between the two books in terms of like what's happening, but like the of course the tones change, but
Yeah.
you can it's very Travis Baldree.
Yeah.
I think he narrates all of it, but I'm not sure.
I think so too. I'd have to fact check that, but I'm looking forward to the other. There's 12 books and then a book of story, like short
A
stories.
novella
So,
type
yeah.
situation. And then I think he's working on the next one. I think the
Yeah.
next one's coming soon.
Well, there's one that's like slated to release next year, but it doesn't look like it's from him, but it doesn't look like it is a Cradle book.
Mm.
So I'm sure he's still working on the next one, but he's got one coming out called Overworld.
Yeah.
But on the Amazon listing, it doesn't say anything about being connected to that. I didn't even read the premise, but I think it's something different.
Yeah. But no, I think that's all I can say unspoilery.
Yeah.
About
So
it.
spoiler warning here. We'll put something up on the screen. Um, this is your final warning because we're gonna there's something very specific that we want to talk about,
Mm-hmm.
and it is that kind of wild turn in the middle of the book.
Not even the middle.
Or yeah, like you said, chapter
Yeah,
6.
chapter 6. And so, yep, that's your spoiler warning. Go read it, or you can just listen. Who cares?
Yeah, we
But
warned you, so let's go.
chapter 6, you go from this like village fantasy, small
Like I
potatoes.
said, very stereotypical, like a Wheel of Time kind of
Mm-hmm.
feel. It's that you're learning about this young boy dealing with the fact that he's like an outcast in his own village, and even like his family, although they at times may seem supportive, they're also like, you bring shame to the family.
Mm-hmm.
He's dealing with that, and then let's see a little more context. They're like doing a uh,
The tournament, the
yeah, they're
7-year
I was
tournament.
I kind of like stopped to be like, do I want to talk about that or no? But yeah, they're doing a tournament, and one of the I guess rival clans summons like their ancestor that's like risen to power, 30-foot wingspan. Oh shit. 30-foot wingspan, and I mean, it looks like he is going to be the big bad.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a stereotypical, like, Dark Lord kind of vibe.
Yeah.
And chapter 5 ends with that guy.
This happens after this is like chapter 10 or 11. That happens. Chapter 6 something or chapter 5 ends and then chapter 6 it cuts directly to this god not god person. They are the watcher of the worlds is what it feels like.
I was thinking he was summoned and then we cut to the other.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Like it does cut to that point of view. So chapter 5 ends. I'd have to look and see what happens. But then chapter 6 picks up and you're greeted by this AI voice system
Yeah.
situation going on. But then, because I hadn't read the audiobook just yet, I'm still physically reading. and I can't remember her name, but you don't know who she is. You can tell that she's watching over some worlds, and she's getting into the political side of whoever she is and what everybody else is doing.
And she's got some sort of like holographic display.
Yeah.
And she's like pulling up a report on the world that she's about to enter, and it's, Lyndon's world.
Yeah. And it's like following him through that. And so you go from this and you've now expanded to worlds.
Yeah.
It's super confusing at first. You kind of have to like reread sections like what is actually happening right now. And I'm still like, I'm sure it's going to explain more, but essentially there are thousands of other worlds, and there are people watching them, making sure things happen. There's no incursions, so it feels multiversal, but it's not.
Specifically, it's just with like timeline.
Yeah.
And because when that Overlord was summoned, she went to that world and like arrested him, like took him back, because it was like, hey, you're causing an incursion on this world's fate. You're not supposed to be here. And he's like, well, no, this is my world. And she gets like, yeah, but you're supposed to be gone. So opens a black hole. He gets sucked in.
Yeah. It's crazy. And so it feels very TVA, but not. Like, it's a lot is happening. And then it cuts back after this because she's like looking at the world. She sees that there's about to be an incursion on this one. It cuts back. And for several chapters, you're back with Lyndon. He's training for this tournament. He is securing a way to win so that he can follow a path finally, even though he is unsouled. And then they're at the tournament. He's doing well, and he's fighting all the other Foundation kids. He's 15 fighting like 10-year-olds because they won't let him train to move up, essentially. And that is where it picks up with Lyndon's mom goes off and follows the other clan, and they summon the big bad, essentially. And you're just like, oh shit, this is gonna be pretty epic. This dude sounds awesome. He's just mowing people down, kills Lyndon's mom, comes back, and Lyndon, thinking he's gonna do something, attacks the guy with an empty palm strike, I think is what it's called.
Yeah, and which is basically he's secretly learned a ability with his magic that he could like temporarily negate others' energy.
Yeah,
kind of like disrupt their core energy.
Yeah,
so it's kind of like what's a good example? Like Black Clover, the anime. I don't know if you ever watched it, but like in a world where everything is like magic, like wizards use grimoires and everything. This guy has a magic sword, but it's just based off the fact that he's just super freaking strong, and so he like his sword like negates other magic energy.
Yeah, but so that happens. Lyndon goes to attack him, and the guy basically bats him like a fly and cuts him in half.
Yeah,
and at that point, I freak out because I'm like, we're 40. I literally said we're 43% into this book, and our main character dies. And you're a little bit ahead of me, so you obviously know that he's not dead.
Yeah,
and I was like, there's no way. And then this like Watcher of the World comes down and is like disguising herself as like what she said earlier as a god. Like, to these people I will essentially be a god. That's what she's posing as. And she can see all these things are happening and comes up upon the tournament and freezes time. Sees that Lyndon is there, is cut in half, and she can see like that he is deficient and what this clan thinks is as unsouled and unworthy. She's like, oh no, we could actually fix this, could be fixed with simple things, but they're just not there yet in like their magic and all of these things, which kind of pissed me off a little bit, because like she brings Lyndon back, shows him his fate in the world, that this is what he would do if he stayed on this path, but could be destined for more. And that's how we get where we're at. And what pissed me off is she knew like there's something wrong with his Madra, however you pronounced it, and she could have fixed it. Instead didn't. Like, what do you mean you can put him back together? Because he was literally cut in half, and you saw there was a deficiency. You noted that there was the deficiency and that it was an easy fix. And she even said, I could fix it if I wanted to. And then she doesn't. Like, come on.
You're going to go on a journey to do this.
Yeah. You're going to almost die.
Yeah.
Several times. I think it was in terms of like what I was like sitting there. I was like, why didn't she just fucking fix it.
Yeah.
But I feel like that may, like, we'll probably find out later in other books. But he goes on this journey to find out the world is huge. It is not just his sacred valley, which is just, a couple few thousand kilometers
Yeah.
in the book, but it is the whole world. It exists out there. And his sacred valley and like the people who he thinks are more powerful than any beings on earth are infantile against other people.
It's the level of power you have is ranked by whether you're copper, iron, there's jade. Gold is like you've ascended to become a god.
Yeah.
But where she comes from, it's like people become gold before they're like 7 years old.
Yeah.
And then you ascend way beyond that. And so he's like, what?
Yeah. The gold is like infantile.
Like you have to become gold just to do any like basic thing out in the
world. So this like expands his world, and so she shows him all of this stuff, and he's like, well, if you did this, it would take you a million times, you would never get here unless this happened. You could do this a million times, and a million times you would fail. And brings it all back, and he's like, I want to remember all this. And she's like, are you sure? And he's like, yeah. So she turns back time to bring all the people back that the big bad we thought killed his mom, all these people, and he was the only person left with all these memories, and sets out to change his fate.
I think that should probably be the extent of the main story that we give, because if they, the watchers do want to go and read this, we're going to give some element of surprise for them. But he does embark on his journey, but he said the book is very fast paced. So this part happens in the first half, and the second half is him just trying to get to the point to start his journey.
Yeah. And by the end, he's moving along and all these things. Won't give up what happens and all of that, but meets some cool characters, takes some stumbles and falls along the way, and very good. I thought it was a well written book.
I think so too, and I don't know if he has written much before this, but if this was his debut, it's pretty solid for a debut.
Yeah,
I'd have to look that up.
It was pretty good. Overall, I enjoyed it. I will continue the series. We said we'd give it at least a couple of books in. I think with book 1, I'm definitely interested in getting several more books in.
Yes.
So how book 2 goes, we'll see how the rest of the series is. And we'll fit it in betwixt the books and whatnot. But
yeah, I mean, like you said, they're small enough that if, we finish one and it's, we both just kind of happen to finish some of our other books at the right time, we'll slot it in for a couple days and knock it out. And
yeah. So they're very fast reads. Even if you're like just audiobooking, you could sit there and you could get one knocked out in a day.
I was still in the middle of a busy week at work, and I still knocked it out in a couple of days.
Yeah, like I think you started it on like Tuesday night, and then by Wednesday night you were done. I feel like late Wednesday night you were done. But no, it's a super fast read. Really good. Main character has a lot of plot armor, and you get that back half of the story, you see a lot more of it, but I don't want to give too much away.
Yeah, I do think, like I said, I've been told that the main character gets a lot more likable and stuff as time moves on. So I think hopefully maybe that plot armor isn't as there as much, but like there were some liberties that had to be taken to get this farm boy who's an outcast to where he is or where he's going.
Yeah.
So,
and I'm not that I'm saying I don't like him. I like him, but there's just like a little bit of like heavy plot armor. There's just like characters like Aelin from Throne of Glass have, Bryce in Crescent City. They have a lot of plot armor, and like sometimes that just pisses me off. Like, it feels like bad things, it's always going to work out fine. You never feel like you're at a certain point, you never feel like your main character is in any real danger. There's a guy on TikTok who was reading Throne of Glass, and he points it out very well. It's like you don't give your characters enough like time to live in this, like there's something bad that could happen to them. The main characters, your side characters, they do, but I think Brandon Sanderson does this really well. It's like in Mistborn book 1 at the end, it's like, oh shit, you don't know how Vin is gonna do it. And at any point in time, it's like, I don't want to give too much away on that because that's a big spoiler for people who haven't read it, even though that book has been out for 20 years. um, but like you just don't know how things are going to end up. Same thing with like I felt like Khaled on all through there. It's like yeah, I feel like he's going to survive, but there wasn't a point in time where it's like he could just get out of this. Like he didn't feel too overpowered. He didn't always have the right plan, or it wasn't always going to work out.
Yeah.
So I think this book suffered from that minuscule.
Yeah.
A little bit. But
I agree. It wasn't enough that it pulled me out of the book.
Yeah.
But you could tell it was there.
Yeah. Did you get to the bloopers? Did you listen or read those?
No, I didn't. So I finished the book and Tanner was like, "Did you listen to the bloopers on the audiobook?" I was like, "Crap, no. I didn't know they were there. I'll go back and listen to them later."
It's really short. Like we could after we end we can just like read them out loud and it's really funny. There is a section at the end.
So what is a blooper for a book?
You'll have to I mean, I'll read one right now.
Okay.
This is in the spoiler
Live
section.
on camera.
Live on camera, Tanner is going to read you a blooper of the book. And I'm gonna pick my favorite one. Here, Unsouled. No internet connection. Oh, no, I don't have any internet connection. Oh, it's because like I'm trying to connect to your Wi-Fi. There we go. Unsouled.
Unfold.
Let's see. Pick my favorite one.
We're gonna hit up some bookstores after this. So I wonder how much these books are out in the wild.
Let's see. Here we go. Whitehall's face twisted in disgust as he looked at Lyndon. Trash, he gestured as though to toss the stolen dagger to the floor, but then stopped himself. You know how I was going to overload your core with my Madra to destroy your spirit from the inside out, but I'm holding this knife? I think I'll just stab you. Lyndon, already cycling the heart of twin stars, froze. Are you sure you don't want to teach me a lesson about your superiority? It's tempting, but no. I think I'll just stab you. Elder Whitehall stabbed him. And there's several of these. It's a little short. Some of them are a little bit longer, but I think it ties in very well to multiversal, and these are different paths this story, what it feels like is these are things that different paths the story could take, but also what it feels like is like the old Pixar movies, and I don't know if they still do it, but older Pixar movies used to have literal, like they animated them, they weren't like real bloopers, but they were like bloopers in the characters, and that's what it felt like.
Or they would also sometimes, if the voice actor would have a blooper, like just it's them talking, but then they'll go ahead and animate them still talking.
They did that for I think The Lion King a lot, but no, it's there's quite a few of those. They're worth reading because they made me laugh a lot.
All right, I'll have to go through and read those.
But that one was my favorite because it reminded me of like that one like. And then the guy said, "What are you gonna do? Stab me?" And then he gets stabbed. Like
I'm gonna
famous
use
last
that,
words.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna use that moving forward. Like when we're playing Magic, I'll be like, I think I'll just stab you.
But all right. I think that's it. I think that's all I got.
That's all we got for you guys today. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe.
Yeah.
Again, if there's any other books or series you want us to buddy read and review, let us know. But with that, we'll catch you in the next one.
All right. See you later.